be doing a little segment that I'm calling Greetings from Hypocrisia, where our shit don't stink. And I was sitting there looking to do like a news, and basically all of the news articles that I kept coming up with were accusing Putin of being a war criminal. They were all, Putin's a war criminal, Putin's a war criminal. Again, he might be, not saying whether he is or not. He seems to be doing things that are war crime-ish, so that's fine. And so if you go to the next slide, we'll see what I came up with. So these were the four main stories I saw. Could Vladimir Putin be charged with war crimes? U.S. Senate unanimously condemns Putin as war criminal. Is it time to call Putin's war in Ukraine genocide? Biden on Putin. I think he is a war criminal. This shit can't write itself, people. Is it time to call his war in Ukraine a genocide? I don't know. How about what we've been doing in Yemen with the Saudis for so many years? Isn't that a genocide? So the fact that we're so quick to jump on the term war criminal is just, I don't understand how people aren't laughing at this.
And yet we are still aiding a genocide in Yemen, which is even worse than what's going on in Ukraine.
And by the way, the sanctions in Afghanistan will be responsible for killing more children in the 1 year that since Biden's sanctions will have been in place than the entire Afghanistan 20-year war combined. And I would argue that sanctions are a war crime.
They are.
And so when we start looking at our impact, like, again, I'm not condoning Putin invading the Ukraine. I'm sorry, it's not the Ukraine. I'm not condoning that. I'm anti-war. I'm anti-imperialism, no matter who's doing it.
I think a lot of people would feel a lot more comfortable as a collective in this country if we were calling out the crimes of Putin at the same time calling out the crimes of our country that we're committing right now.
Well, right. And then if we want to start trying people for war crimes, I'm all for it. But I think we should go in chronological order. So as you can see, I have assembled a nice collage montage of people that in my lifetime, in recent administrations, I think are guilty of war crimes. I think have committed lots of war crimes. Madeleine Albright even flat out said it was worth it.
Killing 500,000 Iraqis.
Was worth it.
Yeah.
So, and you've got Hillary there. She basically expected us to send a drone.
We saw, he died.
He died. We're talking about somebody who actually suggested.
Can't we just drone bomb?
Can't we drone bomb Julian Assange? Huh. And so these people.
I never told her to say that.
No, you have your own. That's his whole own stories of war. Every single person in this picture, and there's many more that I couldn't fit in this montage. I mean, and then you've got side acts, like you've got like, Rumsfeld, Wolfowitz, you have John Bolton, like.
Yeah, you should have had John Bolton.
I did, but like I was really kind of sticking with Secretary.
That's what's even more amazing. I have to say, everyone is still talking about Trump right now like he's president. It's unbelievable.
But I went with my Secretary of State, President, Vice President.
But the point
situation.
I'm making is the fact that you have all of these upper class liberals who have huge influence in the Democratic Party who are basically quoting John Bolton as the person of honesty and integrity regarding what Trump was and was not going to do as president. It's like, this to me is when Trump says drain the swamp. Well, no one is a bigger swamp snake creature of the worst kind than John Bolton. And you're quoting him. There is no honesty, integrity. And this is the thing that liberals especially, and maybe it's just you keep kicking me.
I'm sorry, I didn't feel it.
So people that constantly have this need to have heroes or our side of the good guys or Dick Cheney, welcome to the resistance because he wore a mask. There is this, Trump has broke people's brains.
Let me explain to you. Every single one of the people in this picture could be incarcerated for war crimes. And that's just based on the stuff that we know about.
President Biden has committed war crimes with the sanctions on Afghanistan.
Yes.
That's not up
and
to
that's
debate.
just and that's not including his tenure as vice president.
Correct.
And as a senator.
He was responsible for the coup in Crimea in 2014. He is responsible for his own son having a specific job that concerns energy concerns for the United States and Ukraine.
Yeah.
All of this is connected. The reason you hate Trump is because he does it brazenly out in public. They're all guilty. All of them.
It's grotesque.
The people who are not guilty are people who are chastised and thrown out to the wolves because they're not with it. They're not part of the, they're not part of the club.
I might also argue, and this is something that we talked with Sharif Snuggs about. Shugs. Remember from the about is that we could argue that we committed genocide on a regular in this country by not giving people health care and housing.
100%.
You have people that are going to be dying in the streets that don't need to be in this country because of policy choices. And I might say that could be considered a genocide against people that are impoverished and people that are vulnerable.
And the biggest criminal again, I mean, listen, George W. Bush and Dick Cheney are right there for the absolute worst. But the fact that Mr. Kissinger is still alive, I mean, he has probably drank a lot of blood.
He's immortal.
But he is Agent Orange. He is Agent Orange Kissinger. This is a man who completely destroyed Laos and Cambodia. And
there's no accountability.
There is none.
No, we don't care about that. And what's amazing to me is how quick they are to start calling this war in Ukraine a genocide.
They still consider.
They love that word, genocide. I don't understand. Check out the Ukraine.
Kissinger is still a part of polite society.
I mean, Yemen.
I remember when Hillary was touting her support from Kissinger.
She worshiped Kissinger. That was like her idol as Secretary of State, was a war criminal. And yet we are still like lauding these people. These people are still considered somehow like better and superior and elitist. And we call them out and bring them on shows and give them ratings, and they write books and they tour the country and they live in $14 million estates in Martha's Vineyard. And yet they've killed so many innocent civilians around the entire world. Yeah. And yes, participated in genocide. Every single person that's been president since we've been involved in the genocide in Yemen with Saudi Arabia is a war criminal and has committed genocide. Every single president that has served during what we've been doing in Yemen has been committing genocide. Okay. They could call the fact that they're so quick to use that word now. And I swear I wish my uncle was alive, because he actually was an expert on genocide. That's what he studied. He was a PhD, he was a psychologist, and he studied genocide around the world. And I got to tell you, he'd have a lot to say about this group of people right here. And could probably even account like a body count to all of them.
I think people in this country are just tired of the hypocrisy. I think they understand that what Putin is doing is absolutely wrong. It is a war crime, what he is doing. We feel sympathetic, obviously, towards Zelensky.
Of course.
Kudos to him. I mean, listen, he's fighting the good fight. He doesn't have to. He has his way of getting out of there. But I think he fears that the country is going to get taken over, and it probably will. And, what we're doing is trying to figure out a way, as I would hope. I mean, I don't know how much Biden, quite frankly, I've been maintaining for a while. I don't think he makes any decisions. You have to be able to give both nations an exit ramp. You have to be able to allow Putin to save face, and Zelensky obviously looks like a hero already, but there has to be a way out of this. And if what you're doing are two things: one, ramping up the weaponry for Ukraine to use against Russia, and number two, which is probably even worse, if you are going to have corporate media every day in the White House press corps room saying, why are we not going to war? I don't know what else to say. We have said, when we say that media is the enemy of the state, corporate media is the enemy of the state.
Well, the corporate media sort of is the state. I would, you know what I'm
enemy
saying?
of the people.
It is yeah, that's what I mean, enemy of ours. When people want to know why we're not going to, I feel like all I would say is weapons of mass destruction, which, by the way, again, and I have this documented, I knew at the time was bullshit, because everyone now might say they thought it was bullshit, but no, I really knew it was bullshit. And I knew it was just manufacturing consent. And yet we've now done that, I think, 3 times since then. And yet we're doing it again. I just don't, I don't understand how people fall for this every time. Every time. Oh my God. It's like, we don't even have to wait for a generation to go by to forget.
No.
Like we're forgetting. I mean, every single one of these people is in my adult lifetime. Bill Clinton, I'm sad to say, was the first president I voted for in his first election.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. I was an idiot. I was 21. But anyway, the point is.
Did you vote for me in 96?
I probably did.
That's
I
'cause-
probably did,
that's
but also
'cause my-
still stupid.
That's because my charm never wears off.
Yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.